Hello, this is Wyland with the FPV podcast, where we talk about the FPV community and everything we do with our radio-controlled machines. Before we get into the show, I just want to very quickly touch upon our Patreon giveaway. This is a monthly giveaway that we're going to be doing for our Patreon supporters. So we're going to be giving away a lot of great products. So if you're interested in supporting the podcast and being entered into the giveaway, please go over to fpvpodcast.com. That's fpvpodcast.com. Thank you so much for supporting the FPV podcast. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's FPV podcast. This week, we got somebody who's been into drones for well over a decade now. He's doing some very interesting things over in Dayton. We're really glad to have him on. We're going to go ahead and talk through all those things. But before we get into that, Elvin, what do you got this week?
Hey guys, hi. I hope everybody enjoying the weather. It's warm in the United States. Everybody's hot, but we're having a great time. Been out running that pinata and my long-range quad with the 7-inch props all over the city, all over the place, man. Just having fun, finding places to fly. Enjoy, get out there, everybody, and enjoy wherever you live, because the sky belongs to not just me. It belongs to all of us.
There we go. Good words, Elvin. Good words. All right, Jay, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Jay Day. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I'm the owner of Dayton Drones and the owner of Dayton FPV. I have been in the Dayton Mall for the past 4 years selling just drones. I've had a retail shop as well as a training center to teach people how to fly. We just recently moved the store downtown Dayton to next to the Dayton Dragon Stadium, where we have a 20,000 square foot drone race course with professional, intermediate, and beginner courses, as well as rock crawler course and a drift course. And we do the same thing there. We teach people how to work on drones, how to fly drones, how to race drones. It's kind of a maker center. You can 3D print stuff there, cut stuff out of vinyl. Just a cool place to hang out.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. We're definitely going to get into that. But for anybody who doesn't know you, Jay, can you tell us a little bit about your background into RC or FPV?
Absolutely. I was one of the first drone retail stores. I've been into this since 2011. I was actually a survivalist. I'm on TV shows like Doomsday Preppers, 2012 Startling New Secrets. I was a prepper. And when I first figured out about drones, what better way of going out and scavenging or looking for things than using a RC remote-controlled toy, basically. So I got into Action Drone, who's still around to these days. They're actually more commercial than they used to be. And Daryl just taught me the ways, and I got into big drones like the S1000s, the S900s. I've had every Phantom that there is. In fact, I still have every Phantom that there is.
Nice.
I actually have a Phantom 1 with retractable landing gear.
Nice.
I got Armatton's first race drones. They were made out of aluminum, and I put an FPV camera on it and flew it straight into a lake.
Oh, no.
Most people knew what they were. I still have a couple of them actually made out of aluminum. You know, I kind of haven't thought about it, but, you know, when carbon fiber breaks, you throw it away. When aluminum bends, you stick it in a vise and you go fly again. So I might have to go back to flying those. But, yeah, I got tricopters that are made out of balsa wood and got Adreno boards that are old. I've got brand new KK2 boards hanging on my walls. So I've been around for a minute.
Yeah, since back from 2011, that's quite a while. So obviously the prepping brought you to drones, but what got you into like the racing drones?
You know, here's the thing. When I first got into drones, it was all aerial photography. I was almost had blindsiders on. You know, I've done gigs for a lot of rappers out there. I've done music festivals. My name's been out there for real estate and stuff like that before they even had rules. And
Right.
I didn't even think about racing. You know, I had quads that I built for racing, but they were they were before the CC3D boards, you know. And I'd go around a tree or something, lose sight, and I would just get all frustrated and put it back on the shelf. You know, if you can't trust it, you can't fly it, and that's pretty much where I was at back then. And then as I got into the flying the drones and stuff like that, you know, I have to say I watched a couple of rotor riot videos about diving buildings and antennas and stuff like that, and it took me from aerial photography to where I wanted to do nothing but fly. So, you know, once I got into that, you know, the racing came right in with it. And I'm not necessarily into the racing for the drones themselves. The FPV community is the most amazing group of people I've ever met in my entire life. and I'll back them 100%, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. That's great to hear. Now, I know that you've been in the mall for quite a while. You've been active on Facebook, and even the mall facility that you had was a great place.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you, going from the mall to deciding that you actually wanted to open up a warehouse? I mean, we're talking about 20,000 square feet. That's quite a large facility.
Yeah, well, see, it's kind of funny that you asked that because it's kind of like this. If I'm going to sit there every day and wait for people to show up to my facility to learn how to fly and stuff like that, now I can practice in between.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to be able to improve my skills, which I have, and it's almost like a parking garage facility. So no matter what's going on, I mean, you got to be good, or you're crashing down, destroying your quad. And it's working for me. 4S or the 4 inches right now, I'm killing it.
Wow.
6S, man, I fell in love.
6S?
Stick me on the field and leave me alone, I'm happy.
Okay, so which one would you rather prefer to have? Would you prefer to have 6S, or would you rather have 4-inch? Because you're not going to stick a 6S battery into a 4-inch, are you?
No, not at all. I would indoors, I'll have 4-inch all day. Outdoors, 6S.
Outdoor 6S. Okay, there you go. See, Elvin? I'm telling you.
Hey, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, man. I'm not the only one. There's a couple of guys out there trying to go 6S on the 4-inch.
That's crazy. You're crazy.
It's crazy, but it can be done.
Let me tell you what. I'm not going to lie. After I flew my 6S, it was kind of like getting my first kiss.
Right.
I'm not even worried about the drones anymore. I mean,
right.
I wake up in the morning, my wife has a drone on my pillow next to me just to make sure I'm happy.
That's funny.
We down. We good.
All right. So obviously this facility is a big investment in time, and looks like you're working hard to get this facility up and running. Can you go ahead and break down like the 3 tracks? Are they just all within the same area of the warehouse, or how's that actually going to look like?
Well, basically what happened is there's a huge room that's 20,000 square feet. And then I've got 2 other rooms that are off in the corner that are pretty big, but they're not that large. So what happens is the main room itself is a beginner course. Mm-hmm. You can stay in that room, and it's kind of like the shape of a U, sort of, by the way the track is, and we can change it real easy. But if you want to leave there and go into a different room, you have an intermediate course where you go up, you do a spiral, and you come out the other side because there's 2 entrances. And then you have a pro course, which is a 3rd room that attaches all 3 of them together. So basically, when people come, what they're doing is they're racing for the fastest times. Mm-hmm. And what's cool is you can come in on your lunch break and your times go on the wall. If I beat you, my times go above yours, and then give off bigger prizes at the end of the month, or maybe even have a race off.
Okay.
And the building's got a huge alley in back with a smokestack, and I've got permission to do outdoor events as well as indoor, where we can add the building as part of the racetrack.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So you really got this nailed down. Now, how are you going to handle, pricing? Have you got all that figured out yet, so that if somebody shows up, we can kind of give them an idea of what's going on?
Yeah, it's all coming out of my pocket. I have a lot of car people who have been backing me for years, and they're willing to go on a monthly membership fee. And, I'm going to give benefits for people to do that. So that way we know that, what money we have to work with right now. And this isn't my only means of income. So, even if it doesn't do great 1 month, we take care of it.
Okay. So
summertime right now, I don't even throw races because everybody's enjoying outdoors.
That's right.
So I've had the building, but I'm not even doing it because I enjoy outdoors, Right. So with that being said, we use it for a lot of practicing, a lot of testing, stuff like that. But until it cools off a little bit, we're not even thinking about racing it.
Oh, okay. So basically, over the summertime, you're just going to let that sit and just do the outdoor racing and just enjoy yourself whenever you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do throw events here with the groups that we have around here, but nothing special. September, it'll probably be once a week, maybe every Friday night or something like that. And we're thinking about doing maybe a thing where we mix a little bit of music in with a little bit of drone racing, like Fast and the Furious meets drone racing, and have a night of the week where people can hang out, chill, fly for fun or whatnot, but almost like a party.
Okay. So when this facility opens up, is it going to be available during normal business hours or weekends? How's that going to work?
once it's open, it'll be during normal business hours, and then we'll probably cut back in the summertime because we don't spend much time in it.
Okay. What about all the other stuff like the rock crawling and the drifting? Is that just going to be closed down as well?
No, I actually have people who manage those for me. So even if I'm out racing on a Sunday, it's still running.
Oh, okay.
If they book it and plan it, we've got people to open up and make sure everything goes smooth.
Okay.
You know, but it's not like the mall where I have to worry about being there nonstop. Right now, we're doing appointment only while we're under construction. And if someone needs us there, I'm there 7 days a week anyway.
Sounds good. Yeah. So looks like it's coming along great. Do you know when you think you're going to be opening up?
After IO, we're probably going to buckle down, get the rest of the work knocked out, and have a grand opening the 1st of September.
That's coming pretty close, and I'm guessing most of your events are going to be multi-GP events, right?
As far as the drone racing, yes. Chris Thomas is a great guy, and I got to spend the weekend with him at Flight Fest, and I'll back multi-GP 100%.
Cool. So what's your chapter? Is
Dayton,
that where people can...
Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah, Dayton FPV. So anybody who's interested in actually flying at the warehouse, definitely check out his chapter. Give it a join so you'd be up to date on his events.
Well, some good news that I just got. I'm the founding father now of the East Coast X Class. I've been into it now for a couple of months with Chris Grenner. He's my engineer and my designer. Him and I both pilot. We both have our own Roadkill 1 and Roadkill 2. Roadkill 2 just came out with some F1000 motors on it. That thing screams. It is. It's the most amazing thing I've ever flown. With our first one, there was a lot of, wanting to float back and stuff like that. With this new one, with the F1000, it's just solid and with it.
That's pretty cool. Now, we've talked to a couple of X-Class pilots, and they kind of relate flying an X-Class drone as something, something without basically any brakes, like what we fly nowadays. Does it feel a little floaty to you, or is it kind of almost modern?
Our first quad that we built for X-Class was nothing but practice and to make sure that it's what we were wanting to go with. So it had weaker motors, and yes, it was like flying with no brakes. The F1000 motors, man, we're on top of it. There ain't nothing like it. It feels like I'm flying a 5-inch that's huge. And it's kind of scary. I feel like if I fly through the woods, I'm taking out the trees. I mean, the carbon fiber $350 for one top and bottom plate. And there's tri-blades spinning with them F1000 motors, 650 kV. It's pretty fast.
It's pretty fast. Okay, can you give us, is this something that purchasable through your store, or is this something that's just custom built for you guys?
Well, right now we're actually cutting deals with people on the East Coast where we're helping them out with getting the frame, trying to build it up, trying to get awareness out there and stuff like that. And then I was also told by Chris that we would probably start selling off the quads that we have because we're already working on 3 and 4. So that would help people get into it a lot faster as well. We just debuted them at the Flight Fest. Chris Thomas let me go ahead and race the track there with it to let people see it. And then IO is our first actual race. And it's interesting to see the West or the East Coast with me and my 2 pilots versus California, who's been doing this for the past year.
Oh, yes.
Kind of interested to see how we do with that. I'm hoping the quad's what wins.
Oh, here we go. Here comes the competition. East Coast versus West Coast.
It has to be. It has to be. That's the only reason we're doing it.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Hey, are you ready to start that for real?
It'll be a pleasure hanging out with those guys for real.
Yeah. But I mean, the East Coast West Coast race off. That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, especially when your first race is going to be the race off.
Right, the race off.
The race off. Who are you?
Yeah, but we practice 4 times a week though, so it's not like we're going in there blind.
Cool. Who are you 2 pilots?
Go ahead.
Right now it's me and Chris Grenner.
You and Chris Grenner? Okay, cool.
And we've had probably a million different people pop up to say that they would like to be pilots.
Right.
But it's too much fun. And here's the thing. Every time I've ever been in a race, I just race myself. Never once have I left a loser.
Hey, that's a good way to go through it. That's what I'm saying. All right, so talk to us a little bit about the frame and also the build for that, because we're kind of interested in definitely spectating that when we see you in IO.
Well, the frame itself has got tubular arms. They're actually cored out with wood, so that way it makes them pretty much indestructible. We have wrecked it quite a few times, and we've never broken an arm yet. The way that he did it is just a regular top and bottom plate, kind of like a 5, like almost like a 5-inch, except much larger. And then the motor mounts, we have plates that go from the 2 tubes, and it makes it solid. So you can literally take our frame and you're not flexing. I don't care who you are. The carbon fiber that we bought for the top plate and bottom plate was $350. And like I told you, I think if I hit a forest, I'd leave an indention.
Okay, so
18 PSCs, F1000 motors, 650 kV with the tri blades on top of them, and then we're using he has this new material, I forget the name of it, but we're forming a body canopy for it as we did for Roadkill 1. I've never seen another copter that looks like this or flies like this.
Okay, sounds pretty cool.
I've been flying larger copters longer than I've been flying smaller ones, and it was kind of nice because I had a lot of the stuff that we needed, and this thing's as tight and as stiff and as fast as you can get at, I think, for its size.
That sounds pretty cool.
I'm trying to get Y to make a FPV podcast.
I'll tell you what, I think X-Class is where it's going to be at, and here's why. What we're doing is we're going into races that are already there. Spectators are already there, showing our thing, and from what I understand, the spectators are liking it better than the cars. That can only be good for the community.
The cars? What do you mean the cars?
We're going to racetracks where they're racing rowdy round cars, and they're putting us in between the races so that the people are stuck watching us unless they're getting drinks and getting.
Right.
Hey, that's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so if we can start building a momentum with people, who weren't expecting to be there or who wasn't expecting to like drones and getting their attention, that's going to be good for the community, 5-inch all the way up to X-Class.
Right. You're correct.
Yeah.
Very much correct.
Huge drone race and nobody got hurt or nobody died. It must be good.
So for anybody that's interested in joining the X-Class events over on your side or your chapter, is there a way to do it right now, or is this kind of like provisional and you're just testing it out to make sure that everything works out?
Absolutely, just testing it out. Anybody's welcome. I don't care if you got experience or not. This is more about team building and learning from each other more than anything else. At the end of the day, if one of my neighbors was that happened to win IO, I'd be just as happy as if it was me.
Oh, there you go. So we're definitely interested.
If anybody's out there listening, if you want to join along, when we came at this, we didn't know nothing about X-Class. We're learning as we go, and we're making waves.
Yeah, definitely. It was very interesting when you actually announced that you were going to be the first X-Class chapter over here on the East Coast. What brought that about?
Chris Grinner hit me up about probably 3 or 4 months ago about wanting to get involved with X-Class. So we did a lot of testing. We built a test drone. He did the majority of the building. I supplied the majority of the parts. We kind of worked as a team. And from communicating with with the West Coast and with talking to Noah and getting to know those guys and loving what they had going on, it just seemed like a good fit. And Chris, my friend Chris, he's a great guy. He's not necessarily wanting to be all up in cameras and talking about it. So my job's going to be marketing, setting up races, making sure that everything goes down properly, and he's just going to keep me flying and flying himself.
Okay, cool. Right. Now, both me and Elvin know how big these rigs can get and also how expensive you can get. What do you think, like the average price is going to be once we kind of get like a standard build out for these things? Because quad prices for 5-inch and 4-inch, they've dropped so far. Are you expecting this to be like exponentially higher?
I think that if somebody do some bargain shopping, you could build a good rig for $1,000 to $2,000 easily, and that's going to be deciding on what kind of batteries do you want. Do you want the HDOs or do you want the V3s? For somebody new. And even with the 5-inch, depending on what kind of batteries and how many you give, even with a 5-inch, you can spend $1,500 easily on starting out from ground zero.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's definitely still a very hefty price tag because to build out the frame right now is probably going to be at least a couple $100.
Our motors were $120 a piece. Our ESCs were $80 a piece. The top and bottom carbon fiber plate was $250. But these are like carbon fiber that most of us don't see. I mean, it's got special weave in it. Chris knows more about it than I do, but I'll tell you this much. I did a backflip with that thing into the ground, and it hurt the ground, and it didn't touch the quad at all.
Sound like something I know about.
Elvin?
Hey, you ain't crashing, you ain't flying.
Oh, right. There you go. Elvin, I think one of these big drones is going to be on your Christmas list next year or something.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
You're ready. You just better not crash.
I believe that we're going to start taking our older ones and putting them up for sale for other people to get involved with. So definitely keep an eye out.
There we go. We're in.
All right. So let's go ahead and talk about what X-Class events you have planned already. Because we know you're going to be at I.O. That's going to be the big one. Is there any other big events?
You there.
Right now we're talking with Kill Carrier Race Center to try to get something going on there. And the problem, though, is not necessarily getting the race set up. The problem's having the pilots there with quads. Out in California, they got quite a bit. Here right now and on the East Coast, we do have quite a bit of people working on building them. So we're probably just going to play it by ear and see what happens. Now that we do have two X-Class quads up and running, Chris and I, we are going to start putting in a X-Class group with our races. So that way, even if it's just him or I or other people to join along with that, we can start building our chapter up.
Okay, pretty cool.
But I.O. is definitely the big one that we're working for and training for right now. And I hope to make the East Coast happy, but we'll at least be in the air and having a good time.
So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about how like an X-Class racing event goes, because obviously with the size of this thing, it's going to be it's going to be run differently. How does an X-Class race look like?
Yeah.
It depends on which track you're at. Now, for example, at I.O., it's going to be a normal multi-GP racetrack, but instead of 5-foot gates, it'll be 10-foot gates. And I doubt there'll be any dive towers or anything like that. But I was told it's pretty much going to be the same ordeal, just much larger gates for us. Mm-hmm. And then if you're at a racetrack, it's just a round course or an oval-shaped course, and your high altitude is the altitude of the fence. But most of those have 20, 30-foot fences around them. Some areas do go down to 5 and 10 foot.
Okay.
So that would be altitude, but there would be with spectators like that, there would be no obstacles. It would just be a round race.
Okay. So, like for events that you would be doing for practice for X-Class, is it going to be a much simplified track just to get people used to it?
What we've been doing for the past 2 weeks, and you got to remember, we're also pretty new at this ourselves, especially with a machine as fast as the one we just built. We've just been putting flags out there and working on doing split S's and going through them like there was hoops there, but there's not hoops there because we don't take a chance of destroying it right before the International Open. But, and when we first got into it, we just practiced nothing but round. But then when we found out the I.O. was going to be more of a regular multi-GP course, we wanted to not go in there blind.
Okay, that sounds good. I don't know, Elvin. Like, Jay, also give me your opinion on this, but I almost feel like X-Class racing doesn't really need too many gates. That would be a kind of a hindrance because you want these machines to run for the entire race. Yeah. So, I mean, Jay, what do you think about that?
I agree with you, and I believe that's how it's going to be.
Okay.
But with it being my first race, I don't know. Maybe we'll do a podcast after I get done on the I.O.
Okay. All right. There we go. What about you, Evan? What do you think?
I think that letting the birds fly is the best way to let them to see it. The best attention. We know what gets people attention: noise. And when those ships are cruising around at 80 miles and 80, 90 miles an hour, they create a lot of noise. They move a lot of wind, and it just draws people in. Like, what the hell is that? And they just come out of nowhere. Like, what the? Oh my God, that's cool. So I think just let them fly, man. Don't hinder them right now. Wait to get more technical later. It's about speed. One of the things about bigger is speed. It's more perceivable. I mean, when you watch larger stuff fly, when you see little stuff fly, it's like, but when you watch big stuff fly, it's like, whoa, wow. You know what I mean? That whole feeling. When we watch drag small carts, not too many people go out to go watch go-karts, you know what I mean? But a lot of people turn on the TV to watch NASCAR, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot lot bigger, and faster.
Definitely. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the race there. All right, what am I looking at? Is that a wing? What is that?
No, that's X
Oh yeah,
class
there it is. Oh, okay.
FPV.
Yeah, it's standing on top of a station. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We are looking forward to seeing that. What kind of batteries does it run, and what's your runtime right now?
Well, with our demo copter, we were getting 7 minutes, and we thought we were the best in the world. And with our actual racecraft, we're getting I think it's like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes.
2.5 minutes? Okay,
Yeah,
that's about normal.
So I mean, we'll be all right. We were going to drop our battery size because we were like, if we're getting 7 minutes, then we'll just drop down to a smaller battery and lighten this thing up. And then when we got the copter, it was like 2.5 minutes done. But I'll tell you what, and this is when you're going 80 mile an hour, 90 mile an hour, and you're doing a knife edge around a freaking flag, going through my body, there's nothing that describes it. It's definitely not like a 5-inch. I love flying 5 inches, and I'll do it the rest of my life. But like he said, when you feel it, when you see those LEDs, it makes a rumbling sound that definitely draws your attention.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's
definitely a rumbling sound. That's the sound. It's a rumbling, the rumbling of the air.
The rumbling of the air. Yeah, we're definitely excited to see that. So definitely going to be cool. Definitely going to be at I.O. Do you know what day at I.O. this is going to be running? I haven't been paying attention.
I know I'm going to be practicing from everybody else is getting there Thursday. I'm going to be Tuesday practicing until we have the race. But I don't know exactly which day they're having it now. Okay. I'd probably say Saturday, though, if it wasn't like last year.
All right, cool. So anybody who wants to keep up to date on the X class that you're filling out, where can they reach you at?
On Facebook, the Quad Squad is nothing but my X class chapter. It's with a K, not a Q. And Dayton Drones and Dayton FPV on Facebook for sure.
Okay, cool. And anybody that's wanting to build a drone, they can kind of just hit you up and you can kind of advise them and kind of get them going?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to help them out.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Winner. If anybody want to come to them, they're more than welcome. We have people that come in all the time and learn about new things and test things out. So it's a good time. I like hanging out at the shop. Get to meet a lot of new people for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds pretty cool. All right, cool. Well, I appreciate the time for you coming on and talking to us about this. I know you have a multi-GP chapter. We kind of already talked about that. But if somebody wants to talk to you or go to your store, what's the contact information for that?
For me, it would just be JAYDAY, J-Day. And then for the store, Dayton Drones, and then for the building, Dayton FPV.
For the building, Dayton FPV.
Yeah. So.
All right.
We're pretty. I mean, this is our life. If we're not at a race, we're at the shop. If we're not at the shop, we're at a race. 7 days a week.
Wow.
There you go, folks. So if you're around the Dayton, Ohio area, definitely check them out. They do a lot
7 days a week.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I've had a lot of people working with me to get me my flying much better. And at the Friday night at the Flight Fest, I took 15th place, which I'm happy with. And then in the freestyle competition, I took 7th place. So I'm getting there. I'm starting to feel it, and then I'm starting to I don't know. I've been bitten by this bug way too long not to feel it.
There you go, Elvin. Kindred spirits.
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I was gonna say, man. It sounds like when it took in, it's set. It's set, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's all I do. I mean, the same thing. Like I just brought my glider out. I've had for probably 10 years. I brought a glider out today, and like the first thing I did was grab a camera. Plop! Yeah. I'm like, I'm going up and sit at 2,000 feet at the beach and see how long I can float.
I'll tell you what, man, and I'm not dogging FPV at all or drones, but I'm starting to think wings is the way to go. I see some of these big wings, and I'm telling you what, man, it took my breath away. Like,
listen, hey, like you fly X class, right? That same feeling, like when you take off with a big wing, it's the same feeling, dude. It's knowing what's in the air, knowing what's flying. excites you. I mean, obviously you have that. We have that kindred spirit, man, on flying, man. It's just like once it leaves the ground, you feel like you're a part of the ship. You're up there, especially when I put my goggles on, man, and I'm looking down, and I'll do that. One of the things I like to do is I'll shake the stick just a little bit, and it's not trying to correct anything. It's just constantly reminding me that I'm doing this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the one flying. Yeah. Go ahead.
Where are you from?
Originally?
No, I mean, where are you at right now?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, we're about to fly together sometime.
Yeah. I'll look forward to it. We might see each other in Dayton.
You welcome anytime, both of you.
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
We'll definitely show up, and we'll definitely see you, IO. So we'll definitely, get a chance, hopefully, to fly together. But IO is always a busy time, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, it's a great time. Last year it was amazing. I can just imagine how this year is going to be.
Definitely. Cool, man. Hey, Dayton, not Dayton, sorry. Hey, Jay, I appreciate the time. Everything I see when you post on the internet is all about Dayton, so it's like, it's Dayton again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Jay, thank you so much for the time, man. Appreciate you coming on.
Anytime, man. Here if you ever need me.
All right, cool. Hey, and also, definitely watch out for you guys at IO.
Let me introduce somebody real quick. My boy Jay Tyler. He's been flying since he was 5 years old. He's 12 years old now and still flying.
There you go. Hey, you got to beat your dad one day, right? You got to be better than your dad.
Yeah, he's been flying. He's been flying as long as he can walk.
Hopefully one day he'll be up there with the greats, right? All right, have a good one, man.
Take care.
Take it easy.